So she signed up, like she booked up a discovery call, the first call for childbirth classes. And when she had, like, we were having a discussion, she said, I want to free birth. First, she was asking about birth centers, and I said, okay, there's a birth center next to you here in Goa. She's in Mumbai. So she was like, I was like, you can go there. I can give you the numbers. If you sign up with them, they'll have their own classes. This is how I work. And if you want to, however you want to go. So she had already signed up for another birth center in Hyderabad, but she still wanted to have another set of classes, like before they start, because they start towards the third trimester. She wanted to begin earlier. So she was interested in taking the classes. And then she said, I want a free birth. And since you're training, why don't you come and be at my birth? And I was like, I hadn't thought about it. And of course, because I haven't begun, like I haven't completed the studies. So I was like, that's a great idea. So what I'll do is I'll write down how everything looks like, how the care completely looks like, and how, since you are in a different city, we can come back and sit together. Also, I would like you to think where and how do you imagine me in your journey? Because she wants to free birth, essentially. She just wants somebody maybe in another corner or however. So I think she's also just figuring it out how she wants to go about it. So yeah, I sent her a sheet writing how midwifery care, all that I've learned from you, how that looks like, how prenatal care goes and how things go. And in case of a virtual doula support, how that looks like, and how if we have to kind of combine both of that, however you want to do it, we'll have to figure that out. So I sent her the details, and I'm awaiting. This morning I sent her the details right before the class. So ethically, I wanted to ask you if it's okay to join, because I've told her that I haven't certified. I'm not, I haven't begun working on my own. I've only assisted someone at birth. She knows that. I also explicitly wrote that in the document to her, that this is where I am. But I'm more than open to explore this if you'd like. But I don't know what ethically is okay. I don't know. So that's what I wanted to discuss with you. What do you think?
Okay, that's really good. This is working, yeah? Yeah, this works. Yeah, this one doesn't work. Okay, first you said something about, well, I was looking for a working pen, I forgot my question. But I think it had something to do with something that you were sending to her, a list of questions or an outline. Is that what you said?
Right. I sent her an outline of how traditional birth attendant or traditional midwifery care looks like, and how the prenatal care looks like, what all it entails, and etc. And if it has to be virtual, how it can go based on how I understand it. And then I also wrote about where I am in my studies and journey, and how many births I've attended, and I've attended as a trainee, and but I'm still willing and open if she wants it. But also, how does she imagine me to be in her birth space is also something that I asked her to think about and come back. We can sit together again. That's what I wrote.
Okay, well, actually, that's a very important question too. That answers a very important guideline for you, and also something for you to understand as to what the role is, of course, which is why you're asking it. So as long as you are honest with who you are and where you are at, then I say go. If the mother, we're accepting the mother has that right to choose whom she wants. And not only that, she was choosing to free birth as well. So, so you're honest with her, you tell her where you're at, who you are, how you practice, how you work. And then if she decides to go ahead with you and you feel okay, then go ahead with it. Absolutely. I fully encourage you to do that. And yeah, all blessings going your way. So yeah, I know this is how this is how it kind of happens, actually. Especially if you are a traditional midwife. If you're a nurse midwife, it means you're going through a system, which means you're going into a hospital. I've said the story before where my sister, I was so proud way back when I'd done my first 100 births. Ah, I was so proud. And my sister was a resident at the time, was doing her obstetrics rotation. She goes, we do that in a day. Well, really, I think she said a week, but it felt like she was rubbing it in for a day. It only took me 3 years, but okay.
Do you think I
So,
should ask her some other questions also? Like, what do you think I should ask her as well?
well,
Once
I
we,
do, I like the last question you said, how do you see me in this role? And that used to be part of my opening, my initial checkup, the initial visit when you guys meet each other. So at some point I asked that first visit or second visit, how do you see me as your midwife? What do you think? How do you see that role? How do you see your birth going, and where do I fit into your story? So we're getting an understanding of where this mother sits. Now, I dropped that question here in India because it was a question nobody could understand, right? When you're talking to Westerners who really have a lot of choices, and therefore their minds, they can dream about a water birth under a tree, they can actually have it. So it's a daunting question for the villagers that I see when I ask them such a question. Now, Tapasi's friend, who Tapasi is working with right now, we know her. And so that's a very different type of woman if you ask that woman, where do you fit in her story? She has a specific answer for you, right? But most Indian women will not have this answer. Or at least in my experience, the men can't answer you. The women can't answer you. So right there, you have a lot of information about who you are working with. And then you have to fumble your way through, which is what I'm doing, right? I'm kind of fumbling my way through this too. So let me know what you find. Let me know when you get that home run.
yes, I'll come back and discuss with you before really finalizing, because this would be my first birth, and it's just come. I would have never gone ahead and offered. It came from the front, which is when I started thinking, okay,
Yeah. I accept that. I accept that as being a valid entry line, right? That's the valid entry level midwifery.
yeah.
It's
So
been that's been the traditional entry level for midwives for millennium. Yeah, that's how we come.
yeah,
Someone else.
that made me overwhelmed, because I was like, I wouldn't offer. If somebody asks, then I felt good about it later. I was like, okay, somebody's
Good,
asking. No matter where it goes, I mean, still the fact that someone asked.
very, very good. So I see it as a positive sign. Again, I feel like these things come from God. And,
Yeah.
he throws you a bone when he wants to, and when he thinks you can't handle it and it's not good for you, he takes that bone away.
Yeah.
So,
It gives
he
you
buries
something
it
else.
elsewhere.
Yeah, gives you something else tougher to work with first before.
Yeah, yeah. So he threw you this, and I reckon he thinks you're good for it. Otherwise, he'll take it away later.
Yeah. I'm open for whatever this brings in. Yeah.
Yeah. Adios, Sebastian. Hello.
feel like if she chose the free birth, and if she understands the responsibilities and
Yes.
she
Yeah.
understands responsibilities, then she can easily tell you where she wants you to be during her birth, right? I mean, I think she can answer that question. She
Yeah.
might have about it, but I think she'll be able to answer that question.
Yeah. She did say that. So when she said she spoke about death herself in the conversation, she said, it's all what it is. Nobody can do whatever they're saying, nobody can do, nobody can save anything. So I'm open to whatever this brings in. And when she brought in that, I was like, wow, she's done her homework. So yeah.
That's very positive, and again, those are the kind of words I want to hear from someone. I want to hear that. So that's great that she already gave it to you. So again, these are little comfort blankets in a bit, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know that the mother is solid, and then these make you feel supported.
Yeah.
I guess this is it. Yeah, you support the mothers, and in turn they support you.
Yes. Yeah, yes.
Yeah, rather than putting all the responsibility on you.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
I wonder what Tapasya would say. So are you there, Tapasya? Can you hear us?
What? No, I joined late, so I don't have a reference.
Okay, do you want to repeat it, Divya? I'm gonna grab a drink. Do you want to repeat it?
Yes. So
I'd love to hear you.
there was a mother who came in for joining my childbirth classes, and then she said she wants to free birth. So at one point, so I explained her how I've been doing. I've been practicing under a senior midwife, and I've been at these many births. I told her about everything, and she said, "Why don't you come in and join and be at my birth?" And that's what we were discussing, that in a situation like this, what does one do? So what I did is I explained to her, I created a document where I wrote how the entire midwifery care looks like and where I am at. Like, I'm not certified. I've only worked as a trainee under somebody. And she's in a different city. So how does that look like? And what can be the options? And I offered to sit again and talk about it and then take it from there. So we were discussing, is this okay? My first question was, is this ethical? The second was how to go about it and what more questions I can ask. So one of the questions that I did end the conversation at was, how do you see me in your birth space? How do you see me being there for you? And she'd come back with that.
So Tapasya, Divya was wondering about, well, you know what it's like when you first get asked to a birth as the midwife. You can be tagging along with other people, and you could spend your whole life tagging along with other people if you like. But there's that point for us lay midwives, for us traditional midwives, there's a point where we get asked. And dragged out by nose rings.
Yeah.
You gotta be a midwife, otherwise you won't go. So Tapasya, what do you think of that? That
There is always the first time, and it's always about, are you feeling ready to say yes? That's more important. Because
look at her
that yes takes you into the world of birth keeping. And about ethics, well, what the system calls ethical is, you have a certificate, you have a number of years in a experience in a hospital, in whatever, under a midwife, blah blah blah. But for me, that doesn't matter really. Ethics is what you define, what you feel right for yourself and for your client. If you feel you are the right person who can, just witness and do what she really wants and not interfere, that is, That is your ethics, and that's what you be honest with, that this is my capacity and this is how I work. And if you want me there to witness, I'll just be there. That's true. That is one part. Second part of ethics is sometimes we feel this imposter syndrome, that as birth keepers, as new midwives, we always feel we are not skilled enough. And we are not going to feel skilled enough ever. That's the reality, actually. So skills are something, I don't know, I look at it as, do I have that connection, that intuition, and the confidence that my hands will do what is needed if there is an emergency? So that kind of confidence, I don't know. See, I don't know each and every skill. No midwife can claim that she knows everything about birth and she can tackle any and every situation. That can't be the case. But do you have this confidence that, okay, in a given situation, I think the divine will give me right intuition to do whatever needed with my hands, or if I need to transfer, I will be able to do that. That kind of conviction, if you have, then there is no issue of whether it is ethical, it is not. Because, in birth work, at least, what is ethical for me is serving women and not serving any other interest. That is the utmost ethic we can follow. What does the mother want? So, and the third part is, yes, you sometimes you need to prepare that mother. Some mothers are very well informed, they know what they're doing, but they might ask you that in case this happens, what are you going to do? Or in case that happens, what we are going to do as a team. So, keeping that kind of plan ready, like plan B for transfer, plan A, and things that you have at hand in case of little bit of more bleeding. What do you know about newborn resuscitation? If the baby is not responding very well, what are you able to do? Stuff like that. I think when you discuss them honestly with the mother and make a plan, it works out usually. That's how I attended my first free birth. Actually, my preceptor midwife said, this woman doesn't have money to pay me this time and she's doing it on herself, but she wants a female presence there just to clean up and take care of the elder kid, and just as a help. You don't have to be a midwife. Will you go? And I said, why not? I mean, yes. And when I talked to that mother and we figured out that, okay, we were on the same page, and she had some stuff ready at hand, I had some homeopathy ready at hand, and we discussed that. So we were kind of, okay, let's do it. So if you have that kind of frequency with the mother, then it usually works out. And see, now I've been doing online consultation for free births out of town, in town, everywhere. So I never find it a problem. Even online you can support a lot. And figuring out when you will travel to, if she's in another city. So the funny stuff is, I'm right now in Pune. I was in Mumbai for a free birth client of mine. We were hoping her labor would start, but we figured out that by her date, she has 1 more week to go, and I cannot stay that long in Mumbai. So I said, are you confident if you're, because her mother has a history of precipitous labors, 2-3 hours. I don't know about the daughter, every child is different. But I asked her, are you confident if that kind of stuff happens and I cannot reach you physically? She's like, no problem, you just be on phone. And her mother is a doula, she's a doula, so they know their stuff. So I'm pretty confident about that. So I just came back. I said, I'm going to have good time with my family, enjoy my Diwali. Let the baby come when it wants. So it all depends on what kind of, wavelength is there between you and your client. But little bit of preparation, yes, reading more about free birth, reading more about what you can do if you are there as a birth keeper, what kind of support the mother is desiring. Is it physical, or is it just spiritual and emotional kind of support? How her partner is preparing along with her. Have you talked to the partner and where they are at? All those stuff, yes, matter if you want to prepare someone for free birth, or just support a free birth who's already who already knows what they want.
That makes sense. I think partner is one thing that was on my mind, discussing how the partner feels and how the partner is in it, because so far the discussion was in that one call about only about her, but everything plays out. So yes, that is one thing. And making a plan, yes. And yes, learning along, yes. That would be a big one, yes.
I wanted to say something about the word ethics. I thought it was interesting, what Takasi was saying, that like the first definition that was given was ethics regarding qualification or something, some hospital institutionalized definition, which actually is not the definition of the word ethics. I recently got challenged by Dr. Suk, not recently, actually, it was a while ago. He challenged me, thought I was racist against Indians because I kept criticizing the hospitals and the medical educational institution. I was criticizing this and the doctors that get spat out of it. And he was thinking it was racist. I'm going, no, I'm referring to the word racist. So you take the word racist, it means something specific. You can't twist it. You can't be racist against an institution. You know what I mean? It's not a person. So I object to the ethics. So look up the word ethics, ethical. It has nothing to do with institutions or things like that. Recently, I did get pushed an example of having to surrender to ethics. So the mother I recently came upon, we've got history from the past, not the mother, her husband, that one. And I was quite nervous about taking the birth on at all. But then we came into a situation where she was given 2 false positives for syphilis. So this was really scary for me, that I had to go and confront these people. And I was really nervous about it, and it involves other people as well. Now, it would have been nice if I could have just run away from the whole thing or say, I can't be your midwife anymore. But actually, that would have been unethical. I cannot just drop them just because I don't like the blood results. Once I agree, I agree. And then you have to kind of hold their hands. That's what's ethical. Integrity and ethics go together, right? There is no integrity if you're not ethical. You can't be ethical if you lack integrity, So ethics and integrity are big words, and I think they belong with midwifery. Practicing midwifery, you have, in my humble opinion, it's important. If you're providing any kind of level of healthcare or caring for people, I think it's important to maintain your ethics and integrity. Actually, if you crawl into these bodies that are human, you're supposed to be ethical and have integrity, or you might as well be a dog, right? So, as midwives, because people depend on your integrity and your ethics. So it might be worthwhile to look those words up so you get a clear understanding of what they are. And that's what midwifery runs on. These are heart things. And part of life. Like, does this make sense? Am I sounding stupid? I am sounding stupid. She nodded. Robin nodded. You don't sound stupid. Yeah. Your timing sucks, man. You're not ready to be a midwife. I just talk shit regularly. But anyway. But I just, again, I really do. And I've been doing it for most of my life. I've been doing this. It's really creepy. It's actually creepy. I was talking to Krishna Kumari. Do you guys know her? She's a nurse. She's my god sister. And so she's actually been involved for a long time in checking people out, right? She's a palliative care nurse. So I check people in and she checks them out. And as soon as she was saying it, I was kind of thinking, she goes, it's not the same like midwifery. Of course, it's easy to judge the other. But, you know, it really takes it out on you. You know, da-dee-da-dee-da. But, you know, while she was talking, I had this realization. I think I'd rather be I'd rather check them out, you know, because everybody dies. Everybody, all your patients, all your clients, they know they're dying. Yeah. If you're checking them in, they want to get checked in to a suite.
Okay.
Yeah. They're not expecting to die on your watch if you're a midwife. Yeah. That's the difference. But on palliative care, they go anyway. And so I was just thinking when she was talking to me and she was so exhausted from doing it. It was like, I think I might swap over. You know, this sounds so much better. What day is it? Tuesday. He should be here. I bet I'll hear it again. Anyway, that was just something I wanted to share. I just think this is it's not like oncology or ear, nose, and throat, or, you know, heart cardiologist. Midwifery is quite different. It is that human care, and for lack of a better term, it's anatomical, it's physiological, which is interesting. I guess doctors think they own that now, right? But anatomy and physiology is just your body and how it works. So actually the medical system does not own this. Any more than your fourth grade teacher owns it from teaching it to you. Yeah. Yeah, I think these come from God, and when you work this way, either way, checking them in or out, you feel God's presence if you feel it. So, Divya, what do you reckon?
So I think, yeah, I'll go ahead and have that second round of discussion and listen to her, what she's thinking and where is she at, even when she says what she says, where she is at, where I'm at, and then go from there, yeah. And make a plan. I think that was a good idea. Make a plan. And wouldn't so when I do say make a plan, it's not like make a strict plan, of course, like make an outline of how we fit in together, if at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was very happy and overwhelmed with.
Let me see which one. Hang on.
Oh, you have two.
Oh, no. Okay, put it. The black TV. Okay, Hannah. Or early or late. Okay, so what else? What else do you guys want to? Do you have something to cover? Do I have something to cover?
I wanted to discuss about if we are not finishing the cardinal movements, if we were to. I wanted to discuss about how to support women after a miscarriage. first time mothers or after a loss or something like that. On those lines, supporting women after loss, after a miscarriage.
Okay. Actually, that's kind of timely because Tapasi's kind of going through that right now. Wow, funny you should say this. The other day I met up with an old friend, somebody who worked with my husband. And we were shooting the breeze about kids. And he said something. I mentioned Moti, my number 4 daughter. So Moti, you had a miscarriage before Moti, didn't you? Yeah, I know, right? Right? So how did you know about that? So he was working with my husband, and this would have been in 1983. Oh, how do you know about my miscarriage? He goes, well, you were really far along. Yeah, I know. How do you know all this shit? This guy was a brahmachari at the time, sort of. And then he told me, wow, this weird how things come in together, coincidental. So my husband had told him it was like having a death in the family, this miscarriage. And I was so surprised to hear that from my husband. You guys don't know him, but he's Australian. He's
That way.
Let's just put it that way. They lack courtesy. They just lay it out on the line. There's no politeness, none. You should hear Mayapur and Bonnie discuss. They scurried, turned around and ran. So I was shocked to hear that my husband had said this, and it's 4 years after he died. So I was so surprised. He said this to you, and it stuck in his mind that it must have affected my husband. That he knew he felt like it was a loss in the family. And funny, I just had some mean words with somebody yesterday who had came and said to me right after this miscarriage, oh, I guess you're really happy. And you know what I'm like, I say stupid things, right? So I can understand that. I was confronted when she said this to me. I said, no, I was very upset. And she goes, well, the way you talk, okay, oh yeah, I know, I'm sarcastic. I make stupid comments. It's true, but no, I got pregnant because I want my babies. I don't actually do. Don't let them know though. Just don't tell them. So funny, she just confronted me again yesterday morning, that woman. Again from 1983. And so how to support somebody going through a loss of a miscarriage, let's say. And when I've had that miscarriage, I'm grateful for that miscarriage because I didn't know how much it hurt. I had already had 3 babies, and one miscarriage I had, thank you.
Well, 3 babies of your own.
Of my own that I wanted, and they
Yeah.
I wasn't related to the father.
Yeah.
So they were okay. So I was grateful to realize that miscarriage can be a loss. And I'm interested to have learned that my tough ass Aussie husband was grieving the loss of this baby that I didn't realize he was grieving. And that's why I was stunned. Whoa, like it really took me by surprise when he told me this. I was kind of speechless. So the father ends up being the strong guy. sometimes the mother ends up being the strong guy, carrying everybody else's grief. In my case, my husband carried some grief and I had no idea. The other thing that shits, breast milk. Your milk comes in. That sucks. That's like, you know, insult and injury. You just had your heart smashed. Let's pour a pound of salt on it, yeah? So that sucks. Dill tea, dill tea, dill tea. That stuff dries up your milk. Yeah, sage tea. That stuff dries up your milk. Dill is a herb. So I'm trying to get these things in here and we're going to make our own stuff. Keep it away from breastfeeding women unless they've had a loss.
I think winter season is deal season. DILL, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's in season now, it's coming.
Look, we have to raid. What's his name? Chick Tanya, what's his name on the corner? The Polish dude.
Oh, that one that has the garden?
Let's do it, man. Have you seen his lettuce? Look,
He sells deals. He sells parsley also. He sells all kinds of stuff.
Parson, okay, let's, no, I like stealing better.
Jump over the fence.
It's right.
Go to work.
Where did you get the seeds from the country, etc.? Did you get? Okay, I don't have seeds from, somebody gave me a bunch of herbs and they were Russian. So, but they're online on Amazon. I've been looking, so I started purchasing a bunch of seeds that I'm bringing in, including pulsatilla. So I'm really excited about that. And they're in India too. So
Oh, so they grow here.
well, let's see what happens.
It's
But
not imported.
no, these are from India. Yeah, yeah. So I've got this big list now that's just going with seeds, and if not seeds, it's live plants.
Cool.
Yeah. So I'm getting into that. And if you should see, my house is going to be ridiculous now. Check this out. That's one day's supply, one day's gathering. It was after Vyasa Puja, I mean, Guru Puja. So I just went up to Prabhupada's Vyasasan and just scraped it out. That was, and then you just grab roses
Yeah.
and throw them in. Yes. So then with the comfrey root that I have, so Kalina was worried that it would get glutinous. It gets, sticky, but that's what comfrey does. That is its healing modality, is that mucusy thing, like aloe vera. It's like aloe vera. So that's their healing property. So I don't mind that. And this too, man, doesn't it suck? You have your baby, you have your miscarriage. Sorry, you don't have your baby. Don't have your baby. There's the problem. But you need to be taken care of as well. You still have a uterus that needs to heal. You still will have afterbirth contractions. Again, what the hell? Why do you have to get slapped so many times, right? When you're down. So all we can do is come in with as much love and non-judgment. And also the entire family grieves, the children grieve. In times that I've had to provide such support, and it wasn't just after birth, it could have been the death of a 6-year-old child, or a 7-year-old child, or a 4-year-old child, or a freaking 14-year-old kid. Yeah. All you can do is be there. Cook the meals for the other people. Mother's not going to eat much, but cook the meals for the other kids. Just be there, and when somebody needs something, You provide it. Do not try to take away pain. Do not ever try to extinguish somebody's grief. They're telling you how they feel. And I know it's uncomfortable to hear it. Well, bloody hell, it's uncomfortable to feel it. And if you really want to help, then don't fix it just because you can't. Unless you're gonna be Arjuna, bring back the baby, there's no healing. And I'm sorry, but Arjuna's not going anywhere for us. Good thing Kalindi isn't here. She'd have a few things to say about Arjuna. only you guys so close to Krishna can get away with these comments. Me, I get reactions. What would you add to that, Tapasya? From your recent experience, which is pretty dreadful. If you can hear us.
No, I can, but I didn't follow. What?
We're talking about helping a mother through loss. So with your recent experience, what did you learn that you might share?
Just, all her emotions are valid. She was feeling she wasn't involved enough in pregnancy. That's why this happened. And, there are so many reasons, but we can never know why this happened. It was twin-to-twin transfusion and both the babies passed away in 5th month. It was really, really hard. She had lots of fear regarding this pregnancy. First time she got pregnant, and that too with twins, and obviously the medical stuff, whatever you read about twin pregnancy, it's dreadful. I mean, the medical system, whatever information is out there on Google, it just scares you. And she had her own fears. She was on the peak of her career, but she also wanted baby. And now as she has lost the baby, she's feeling a lot of guilt. So what I did was just to validate, okay, you can talk about your emotions and all of them are valid. Whatever you are feeling, you have every right to feel that. I mean, you cannot negate what you're feeling, right? So, and just, giving her tips about physical recovery, some homeopathic remedies. And I just limited myself to that. And I also shared some spiritual stuff that I had read about twins, that, twin souls come to the planet for a reason and they have their dues of, past lives for which they come together. And when they decide to live like this, maybe, for their next karmas to be fulfilled, maybe this was the way they had to depart. There are so many reasons, right? So when you give, that kind of explanation from what you have read, what you understood, the mother kind of tries to make sense of what is happening, that there might be some reasons which are not in our control and stuff like that. So that was my role, just validating her and providing her whatever you could for physical recovery, and some emotional part of it can be taken care of with homeopathic remedies. But more than that, you cannot do much. Like, if she comes, if something comes from her, a question or a query or whatever, you can, but proactively you cannot keep poking her, how are you feeling, are you feeling all right? So I just limited myself to just answering her with the empathy, but I don't message her too much because now she's recovering, she's fine. She was asking me if it was okay to take postpartum massages, and obviously, I mean, you have right to every postpartum care, even if you don't have the babies. So now she is kind of okay with it and processing it well. But it is hard, obviously, losing two babies at once is pretty rough. And your brain just keeps thinking, where did I go wrong? What did I do wrong? That the babies decided to leave me like this. That's not gonna stop any soon. That thing goes on in your brain, right? And the society doesn't help. It always guilts the mother that it must have been something that you did,
Or the midwife.
I blame them. Well, that's just disgusting. You said homeopathics. I assume Ignatia is in there. What else would you specifically use? Coaphylum or?
No, Ignatia, Arnica for the physical pain of it. And then Ignatia, sometimes if the mother is not able to grieve, Natmure also helps, because Natmure is a remedy that is related to suppressed grief. Sometimes if it is, if a mother loses a baby after a C-section, then Staphysagria is what I use, because it's a lot of pain internalized and in physical, tissue that goes, the grief kind of percolates in your tissue if you have had surgery as well on top of that. And Staphysagria is a remedy that works with surgical wounds and healing. So that kind of stuff. And sometimes if the mother is, has changing symptoms, then Pulsatia also helps. Sometimes if she is feeling overwhelmed and she doesn't, she feels overburdened with responsibilities, then CPI is the remedy. That kind of remedies I use, but mostly for everybody, it will be Arnica, Calendula, Ignatia. And if she's having, clots and bleeding and which is not clearing up, then Colophylum, yes, if her uterus needs some help in involution. So that kind of Colophylum. Yeah, I use those.
Can she send a list of things?
Can you send a list, write a list to the group of what you use? Is that okay, Tapasya, if you have time?
Yeah, sure. For loss, you mean?
Yeah,
Yeah, after loss and after a general postpartum care, I'll write down a list.
Yeah.
cool, thanks. Okay,
I have a question.
yeah.
Have you, in any of your experience, whether you or Tapasya, have you experienced a mother's loss blaming the midwife for not either doing too much or not doing enough? Sometimes the men want somebody to blame, and it's easier to blame the third party because they feel like the wife's been there, they've watched the wife and they know she's okay, or they like someone else to blame. So have you experienced blame for a baby's loss on the midwife themselves?
I have not from the parents, though, from the doctors. I don't think any parent blamed me for any of the losses. Only one of the babies died during labor. All the other baby losses that I had died prior to labor, just before, a week or two. So nobody got upset with me for that, but the doctors did get upset with me for my very first stillbirth, the second of twins, and that's the one I was saying that got lost during labor. Having said that, now the ambulance who attended and the police always have to respond to any in the West, the police always have to respond to an ambulance call, right? Some police presence has to be there. And then, of course, if you have a death, then they must contact police. So between the ambulance and the police, no one had any complaints. There was no issue. Just one doctor who was a neighbor of all of us, because we all lived in this same little corner. The doctor blamed, he was angry that it went at home. Oh, because there were 4 hours between twins. So that they lost their shit over that. But at the same time, they couldn't actually blame me if I didn't do anything. They couldn't find anything that I did or didn't do to cause the death.
Usually the hospitals will always find something.
I'm very, very fortunate that in all my hard times, there's only one transfer and only one parent that I can remember who really got angry at me. And do you know who the Finks are? Have you heard of the Finks? They're the Aussie version of Hell's Angels. So I was just so lucky to be their midwife. And so it was, for some reason we transferred. I don't remember why, but we ended up in the hospital, and I can't remember how the birth ended. All I know is that when the doctor on call was Chinese, and so they started having to go at the doctor. And then I finally had to say, actually, my grandmother's Chinese. So shut up, in essence, I'm trying to get them to stop, and they were pretty disturbed to find out I was part Chinese.
You're part of the challenge.
Yes. But we invented the clock. All right. And pasta. All right, so this other couple, yeah, after everything, they were angry. They were angry at me and they blamed me. I'm not sure what for. I do know that there was a complaint when they returned home. They were trying for a water birth, and their version of events is that the place was covered in blood. But I remember going back to their house and cleaning everything up.
Did they have a rug or like a carpet?
No, it wasn't like that at all. It was she didn't give birth at home, so you don't have that blood like you do when you give birth at home. But yeah, she did, there was some blood. Just, cervical dilated blood. Anyway, it was just stupid, and really, really, really what the deal is, they didn't want to pay me. That was really the deal. And if you know what motorcycle gangs are like, yeah, they're scary as hell. These guys they're not to be taken lightly. They will, I saw one of their things, they have a business card that they drop off on you if they've done their business on you, and they tick off what they did. They bashed you, mugged you, gang raped you, or something else. And after doing it, they leave you a business card. That's the kind of people they were. So I'm not surprised. And really, that's the only couple in all this time that had a go at me. The one and only couple. And I know recently we've had 2 issues here, and it actually came from other people. It didn't come from the couples themselves. It came from other people one was a doctor influence, and that his doctor friends all freaked out. What was the second one? Oh, the great crazy father-in-law. So, yeah, I'm lucky. I think mostly because I look after them. And they call the shots. It's their choices. If they go to a hospital, it's their call. I don't want them to go. Oh, you want to go? Okay, we go. You don't want to go? I want you to go. You don't want to go? Okay, we don't go. Whatever you want. So they know that. And I do look after people. So anyway, again, I do feel protected. I feel like I don't get protected from everything, there's a lot of things there's no protection.
You can't have it all.
No, I can't. It's only for midwifery. It only works on midwifery. Damn it. Didn't work anywhere else. But I do feel, again, I guess that's partly why I feel it's all tangled up. I wonder what an atheistic midwife would think. I wonder. There gotta be. I remember.
I'm sure they gotta be.
I remember one time, the first time that it was a midwives gathering in Australia. So I went. And then as I was getting ready to go, I heard it was a barbecue. And I was stunned. You know, I was young, but I was just stunned that how could midwives have a barbecue and eat meat with veal?
Yeah.
I recently read from a known things are happening to me and not to me. What?
So there's someone I know who keeps writing, and I was reading it on another page also, that things are happening for me and not to me. So everything that is happening, that feels it's happening to me, it's there for a reason. It's to prepare me for something better. So all these things are happening for me to probably prepare me for something that is to come, rather than it's happening to me.
Good perspective.
All right, I'll try to change my dialogue.
I
All
like-
right. Now you're right. You're probably really, really right. I'm going to try that one.
Trying to hang, like I'm trying to I try to remember this, like I told you, right, off late it was things that I needed to step up
Yeah.
and not be my very gentle self that I'm usually am in my public dealings. So I had to tell myself, and this line came to me again and again, it's happening for me and not to me, to probably prepare me for something in the future.
Very
Because we
nice.
all have strengths and weaknesses, and of course I do have a lot of weaknesses as well.
You have a lot of strengths, probably more than the weaknesses.
We all do.
Yeah, we just focus on the weaknesses. We identify with that.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, what else? All right, let's see if what we can do.
To look at the glass.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Glass hunt.
Okay, it's the glasses hunt. And while they hunt my glasses, look. I'm lucky.
Go.
I'm lucky. Thank you so much.
Can I support?
Yeah, I hope so. Good job.
So I'm not even a big fan of, but the way you make these, it's really interesting. Like really beautiful. My husband was
I'm gonna keep making this. I love making things. I love getting into my witch,
I like
my
that.
inner witch. Not bitch, witch.
Divya has gone to a Halloween party. She's become a witch today. And she
Oh.
was telling, so she read this book, Room on the Broom. And the witch is a good witch. So she's been telling everybody, it's a good witch, it's a good witch. It's not a bad witch. You don't know. She's a good witch. Witches are good. So it's happy.
We're good. Sit around the cauldron. All right, let's see if I can do this. All right, can you see that? All right, how far did we get? Well, remember this, the 5 P's of labor. So we'll just scoot down. I don't think I actually defined this, did I? But in any case, I will now.
Oh, you did.
I did?
Yeah.
All right. I like how I'm doing this professionally because I'm holding it on my screen. Don't look. What's a fetal lie? When babies tell an untruth. Next.
Yeah, when they think they're,
That's not true.
that's a lot.
That's a lie. So today, didn't we have an issue? What was the issue?
You weren't sure it was transfers.
So what was this? The baby's lie. I'm not sure about the baby's lie. So the last one, as this one says, vertical is the, can you show me a baby? Maitreya, just to annoy Kalindi, even though she's not here. Maitreya. She named him. All right. So it's just the position, whether the baby, the angle of the baby in the uterus. So this is vertical, up and down. Transverse. It's still vertical, it's up and down. All right, so you've only got the vertical and the transverse. The attitude. What is the attitude? Yep. What can the attitude be if it's a breech? Yeah.
Can it be the legs or just the bum?
It can be the legs. The legs can become the presenting part.
Yeah.
So we're looking at the attitude of the, we're looking at, but I bet you that just makes life more complicated. Because they do move, exactly right. So when you're trying to look at that attitude, you're looking at the flexion of the legs. Is it extended or are they flex, they're bent? So, but yes, indeed, when it's the knees and the feet, they wiggle a lot more, so they can change a lot more. And they can get in the way of the bum, actually feeling the bum nicely. If they're sitting on their foot, yeah, you're not going to be able to find, you really are looking. So Tapasi, you asked before, you find that leg, foot, you're looking for the thigh. You're looking for the thigh. And it's going to lead you to that bum, right? Yeah, you'll get that soft bit. Sometimes you will find anus, or you'll find some genitalia to give you a clue. I don't know why this clicked to add. Oh. Fetal presentation, you all know that. Fetal position, you all know that. Syncretism and asyncretism. So I'll say that again because these things are buggers. But they tell you a lot. So really understanding these sutures. Can you hand me this phone? Thanks. Where are you? Yeah, you're here. Okay. So really, we've looked at these before, and I pointed them out before. How important it is to understand this midline suture, you can call it, right? It's not the name, but I'll call it midline. It's the sagittal suture, but for us, it's in the middle. And then you've got this diamond that points in a particular direction, the big diamond, and then you've got the little diamond, right? So big diamond, little diamond. So you will feel a triangle. And if it's the little one, you'll feel this little triangle and you'll feel, this is what you're going to feel. Yeah?
Yeah.
That's pretty much the first thing you're going to feel. And this is what's going to give you an idea. And then sometimes if you feel, you'll find this midline either this way. If it's asynclitic, it's off this way or it's off that way. meaning the baby is going this way, or yeah, exactly, exactly, or that way. You know, and that this is synclitic, synclitic, asynclitic, asynclitic. And a lot of your holdups in second stage are this, or at that transition. It's syncretism. They've gotten their head stuck in the shirt. You know, you pull shirts over kids, right? They get their head funny. So it's the same thing. They got to straighten their head. God. Next time, do not catch green waves with ruffles. Do not do it. Okay. Again, with this, is there any questions about this? I know it's funny to, even for a while, oh my God, even for a while, like Tapasi was saying, you're never gonna learn everything. And after all this time, I can still stand there and get dummied, you know, like, wait, what does that mean again? So if it's going, I'll go back and forth, I'll sit there feeling the suture. And, you know, 20 minutes later, I'm trying to still wait, what part of, what, is he going this way? Wait, okay, you're going this, yeah, okay. You know what I mean? You just have to keep, and it depends what position the mother's in. So sometimes she's in a situation where she can happily lie reclined, and you can, you know, we're so used to reading books in this way, you don't know how to read a book this way.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's a pain in the ass. That really is hard, you know? And for real, man, for real, you've got women squatting.
Yeah.
So you've got this much room, and you're trying to get your hand up there and feel, and running your head, fingers along the sutures, and maybe she's off on a funny position a little. Then you're sitting there. That's why the landmarks are important, right? At the pelvis, we're talking about the landmarks. And we talk about the relationship between the baby and the pelvis. So these are landmarks from both of them, the pelvis and the baby's head, and then how they relate to each other in whatever position the mother's in at that moment.
Did you ask her to lie down?
Sometimes I will if they're in, it just depends. If they're in second stage, no, I often don't. If they're in water, no, because they're in water. I don't have snorkels. Maybe I need to start. I wonder if we should bring snorkels. I wonder what that would be like. Well, that's mushy time. It's just what home birth is like. It's not, home birth is messy. It tends to be not gross messy. It's just, there's an edge of disorganization at a home birth. In a hospital, everything is always in the same place. Everybody gives birth in the same place, on the same bedpan, in the same position. There's no change. So everything is right there. Home birth, you start off here, then the mother moves there, and she moves, grab everything, move it over there, grab everything, move it over there. It's like this. So in this way, yeah, it's, you get lost, or at least I do. Oh, I answered that direction. Cat and cow, yep, all is a good position if the mother wants to be checked. Yes, I often do this in that position. And again, it's gymnastics. And like I've often done internals like this. Yeah, you know, and lying on my stomach. Lying on my stomach and doing something like this, or lying on my side doing something like this. Yeah, nobody in a hospital does this. There's a reason why God invented hospitals and delivery beds and stirrups. Yeah. And hoses right at the end of the bed. That's what they're missing, right? No, I think I'm making that up, but that's the autopsy table, actually. In our demolition, we had a demolition business. We demolished a couple of hospitals and we would get the autopsy tables. And those things would sell.
Of course, oh.
Oh, I'm just thinking,
Seriously,
oh
why?
my God, Wolf Creek. It's so Wolf Creek. And that guy comes to our shop. The guy who played Wolf, do you know the movie Wolf Creek? No?
No.
Oh, I thought you were looking at. I'll tell you here.
Okay.
All right. I've talked about this a lot, and it's really, really important to understand this, or at least for my brain it is. I like to know things. I like to know why and how. I've used this image a lot, and let me do it. We talk about the cervix, and if you see here, I'm gonna get a marker somewhere. Stuck in that. Okay. So you see this bit from here and here. Really here.
Okay.
And this is the external os of the cervix. And this is the internal os, this section here. And here. So all of this
Your
And
fingers can fit.
is the cervix. Yeah, and as you can see it, that's pretty damn thick. That's pretty damn thick. And correct. The other ones are during pregnancy, and the one at the end is during labor. So this one is non-pregnant. Look how thick it is all around. And yes, it is. And then as it stretches and opens up, so then the cervix from here starts to shrink. Look how much it shrank. That much. And then all of that fat tissue here migrates as the uterus gets bigger and bigger. It migrates to the top. Look how much thinner the walls get. And all the muscle moves to the top.
It's like a rubber band being stretched.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And that's what you're feeling, that kind of pain, is that stretch of the rubber band.
Yeah. Awful stretch.
Yeah. And then now this, in this one, this image, this cervix is now opening and it's fully effaced. You see a little, what do they call this? A physiological retraction. When we talk about women rupturing their uterus, and of course now we think about it more often because most women that come to us who've had babies have been Caesared. And they're usually Caesared in this area here.
Oh.
Yeah. This is the section that they tend to cut through. Or at least they're trying to. They're trying to aim for here. They don't want to cut here because that's part of your cervix. It has more blood. So they want to cut you here. And so physiologically, yes, there is an issue where if a woman goes on for labor forever and ever and ever, and she just doesn't stop for whatever reason, although I would like to research the actual incidence of this occurring and how they came up with this anatomy and physiology. That's what's happening is there, as it's moving and the muscle fibers are migrating to the top of the uterus, as it keeps separating like this, they're concerned that this section becomes paper thin and then tears. And that's abruption of the uterus. And they have more concern about scar tissue, not stretching or that it would tear. So, in fact, we do know that rupture of a cesarean scar is again very rare. Very rare. Scar tissue is actually quite tough. But I personally think we need to understand more about modern cesarean sections and how they are being, because in the past when they were doing cesarean sections, it was out of the ordinary. You know, when they took you in for surgery, they knew, and it was very well known amongst the surgeons and everybody, that you were going in for major surgery. It was serious. Whereas now it's not even thought seriously. You're going in for getting your teeth cleaned. I'm just cleaning your teeth. Don't worry, we'll zip you back up. And they should invent, really, they should look into having zippers if they're going to keep doing this. I reckon it could be done. I'm going to ask Alfred Ford about this. His wife's an obstetrician, right? Amberish. She's a doctor. I think she's an obstetrician. Shaky. So yeah, that's so that physiological retraction ring. If you have a woman who's in long labor, and we do get that very often, so that is something I'll run my hand over. I'll stop and look at her belly and see it. I'm paying attention to see that ring. I haven't seen it. Usually, if I see some lump there, it's the bladder filling up. Yeah. So, and all you need to do is palpate, feel it, and you'll know the difference. Oh. Oh. Okay. Oh, hang on. Where's the eraser? All right, again, we're seeing. Again, we're seeing the uterus fully opening. And understand what you're feeling. You can see, again, I've spoken about it. You see how these diagrams are very nice diagrams demonstrating what we're talking about. How the cervix thins out, and look how much it drags up into the uterus. That's your cervix. Crazy, isn't it? And then, I mean, that's mad. That's actually your bloody cervix. Who thought of that? Bleeding during labor could be due to certain, yes, as well. No, this is how we assess exactly right. So in fact, exactly right. That's why every now and then it's good to feel the uterus. Just put your hand on it. I'll put my hand on it during a contraction very softly, because women don't. If you're too much into their uterus, if I can say it that way.
Yeah, sorry.
Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
You're contracting, you really want people,
Get off.
yeah, get off me. So I try to be very gentle.
Yeah.
We try not for them to notice. But I'll put my hand and I'm gently feeling, and I'm feeling how the contraction feels. And what I'm also aware of how this is feeling thicker. This bit goes thicker, I can feel it. Yeah. You know why? What I feel is less baby. I feel less baby. There's much more thickness before I can find his butt. Yeah. And in fact, now I can really feel his head. I can really get his head. You can actually find a nose. You can find the nose and the ear if you're sensitive and you're used to feeling. And shoulder, yeah. So if you get a baby who's jammed in there, or again, asynclitic, I see this a lot. When you've got the cervix thin like this, you can grab the shoulder and just kind of, and I'll push them, from the outside on the belly. I'll feel the shoulder, and because it's thinner here, you can grab it. And hopefully I figured out which way the head is. It's hard sometimes. Oh, that didn't work, did it? Let's go this way.
From the outside, and not have the mother screams there.
Oh, I didn't say they weren't screaming. I didn't say that. I'm kidding. They don't scream.
So you just move the face
Yeah.
like this, or just
So So the mother's, often I may already have my fingers inside her, right? So I've got one set of fingers inside and the other is on top of her here. And this section here that we're looking at. So that's all, that's here,
Okay.
yeah? Okay, so the shoulders are right here. And as it thins out, you can feel it much more clearly. And so I'll get it. And I'll just
Check it out.
maybe I grab them this way, so I'm really getting them here.
Yeah,
Sometimes I'm getting them,
yeah.
yeah. You kind of, so I'm working inside and I'm feeling that midline suture, right?
Mhm.
And so I'm pushing it up on what I'm really trying to do. I want to get whatever's going on, I want to get that line in the middle. And I want to get evenness, I want to get bone. So you've got this line, I want to get an even amount of bone. Yeah, if that makes sense. And then I'm just jiggling him. Maybe I'm helping him, maybe I'm applying pressure here, or I'm pushing here, or I'm pushing from the back. And the whole way the intention is, well, a little bit. I'm trying to, so when I'm grabbing that shoulder, I'm grabbing that shoulder. That's all I'm doing. Yeah,
Mhm.
shake, shake. And because he's alive, right? So they just, okay, they straighten their heads out or something. I guess, I don't know. It's just like a critter that you're dealing with and you're just trying to work with them through the cage. So, yeah, that's what I'm doing, grabbing, lifting, shaking them. Maybe I'm pushing it down, yeah, especially in dystocia, right? If you've got shoulder dystocia, then you are firmly pushing that shoulder down with your weight. If you have to break his clavicle, you do. I know, I tried once, but I didn't do it. I couldn't get I was trying to break it, but I couldn't do it. Heather says you just get the,
Putting back out.
no,
If you-
they
if
have
you-
to get casted, get their arms in it, because I'll break it.
Yeah.
You're actually
So
breaking.
you dislocating it.
No, I'm snapping the bone.
Oh, you wouldn't do that.
I would if I had to. You betcha. You betcha. I was trying on this one baby. I was trying to break the clavicle, but I couldn't get it. But Heather says you get it like this. And then she says it should be pretty easy. You just pop. Yeah, I know. It wasn't easy. I didn't find it so easy. But anyway, she came out. So I didn't have to break anything. Yeah. Okay, the mechanisms of labor, series of adaptation. Okay, so we haven't really gotten, we talk about it, but we haven't walked it through properly like this. Influenced by the size and position of the fetus, the powers of labor, the size and shape of the maternal pelvis, and the mother's position. You all know that. Okay. The movements. Can you hand me that? Yeah. Thank you. So first step of the cardinal movements, engagement. Engagement can occur during pregnancy before up to 2 weeks before labor even starts. And that just simply means, as we looked at the stations before, that the baby is descended into the pelvis enough that the top of his head is level with the ischial spines here. So that is engagement. And then descent is the amount of descent are dropping in centimeter by centimeter below the ischial spine, and that is descent. So when you get to +4, you're seeing a baby's head well and truly. +5, the baby's head is out. Okay, so baby goes down, descends. He hits the bottom of the pelvic floor, pretty much hits this tailbone. Why is it so hard to look in? Do the camera.
You need me to move it?
Something happened?
Would you need me to move it?
No, it's not that. I just can't.
Focus it?
No, it's weird. It's kind of like, actually, it's very much like being at a woman's birth.
Yeah.
It's really hard to figure it out. So the next thing is the baby starts to flex his head. This is, let's hope he's flexing, not extending. Flex, baby, flex. Then he hits the bottom with his flexion. When he tucks in, he can go further down. Then he hits the bottom again. Now he must rotate. So his shoulders are going to want to go oblique. Yeah. So the shoulders are oblique. You can see that. And actually his face is oblique right now. He's going to hit this. And now he's going to start his rotation. So it's a quarter turn of his head. Shoulders are still diagonal, but he's turned his head. And that's internal rotation. Now he starts to extend. So before he was tucked in, and now he's flexed, and now he's starting to extend. And this is that 2 steps forward, 1 step back, where you get it. He goes, 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 until there's a point. Then his head is out, comes out. Come on. Come out. Okay.
Dystocia.
Bit of dystocia there. Yeah, you are actually. Get in there. Okay, so head's out, and you can see he's looking at the thigh. Yeah, sort of. And then from here, he's looking down, sorry, and then he's going to rotate. That's the external rotation. So really what's happening is first he's going to unwind his neck from here to quarter turn or 1/8 turn. And then the shoulders are going to rotate, and his head's going to rotate with the shoulders. Usually it'll be the top shoulder will want to come out first, and then the bottom shoulder. Sometimes it'll be the other way around. So that's that. And then the next bit is expulsion, which is when the baby is out. Pretend he went the right way. So those are the 8 cardinal movements. It's nice to have it in your head, understanding so that during second stage, when the woman's working on getting this baby out, and sometimes this can be a long process. For me, as I said, it was 4 hours for me. Second stage with Mandakini. After that, 1 minute. But it's nice to understand this, especially if you have a sticky baby or, things are slow going down. It's nice to understand what it is a baby has to do. What's it, and understanding how amazing this pelvis is to turn a baby like that, isn't it? That all babies are turned in the same way. Due to this, they have to make it out of this, and they have cardinal movements, So nobody's going out, I'm just going to go through this like this. No one comes out like that, right? No, I just want to test the water. Okay, I'll come out this way now. They all rotate in these ways. A little sticky here and there. Maybe you fix the asynclitic or something like this, but you want to understand what they're doing and be connected to them as they're doing it. And sometimes all of this happens super freaking fast. You don't have time to notice. Yeah. Don't you wish they were all like that? So. Engagement, okay, we all this. We told them, okay. Engagement's also referred to as dropping or lightning. Babies engaged. Yep, you know this. Leopold maneuvers are the maneuvers that we do to palpate at all over the belly. Yes, so this is one thing that you will notice that the baby is engaged. You no longer can, when palpating on the pregnant mother externally, you no longer can move that head back and forth. He's in. Again, note the internal os and the external os. I mean, I find that, I'm sorry, I'm kind of like a kid sometimes. I find that really fascinating.
And
Again, this is nice to know. Look at it, think about it. Get that image in your head. It's pointing one way or it's pointing the other way, right? Either it's going this way or it's going this way. What if this is over here? And that is over here. Uh-oh.
oh, yeah.
You want to know these things.
So the anterior.
Yep. Well, posterior, actually. Yeah, this is the anterior fontanelle. So right now, yeah, the occiput is anterior. So if this is pulled around here, this is up here, then the occiput is posterior, and then babies face up. Sometimes you will find that suture line coming across here. Yeah. So we pay attention, or down here. Sometimes you'll reach in there and find it over here. Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like it. Actually, I don't like it up here. That means he's got his head over and he's caught here. Yeah, that's when you have to kind of move him.
So this is a vertex presentation.
This is vertex, head first. And this one, this baby, I assume is rotating anteriorly. Same. So at this point, the baby's hit the pelvic floor here. He can no longer go any further. So here, he's going from here to here. Bang. I can't go any further. He hits it. He hits the coccyx. He hits that tailbone. Now he has to tuck it. Now he's starting, it's forcing him to tuck his head down.
And that's the restitution.
No, this is lesion. So he's starting to flex. So before he's engaging, so the first one here, he's engaged. You can see he's at this level, he's engaged. And he has this far to go. And then once he hits this, then he will have to tuck his head in. See? So you can see his face here. So as he goes further down, he has to flex. Now he's rotating. This is called internal rotation. So he's rotating, his shoulders and head are rotating, and then his head will continue to rotate. And notice these fontanelles. Notice the sutures. And again, if you're getting to this point, and sometimes in this particular position, then you find that suture here. You can find that suture here, and then there's a delay. Woman delay. Something's happening. He stop. Let me have a feeling. Yeah, okay. Then you shake him. Okay, now he's extending. So here he's hit the floor. He's having to tuck his head in. Then he's rotating a bit. Now he can't rotate any further. The only way he can go is like this.
Extension.
Exactly. He's extending. And look at the sutures now. Yeah.
This would be the forehead presentation.
Not well now at this point, not the presentation, because this is still the vertex.
Okay.
If this is a normal occiput anterior delivery, and at this point the occiput is anterior, it's not on the right side, it's not on the left side, it's smack in the middle. So this is that big fontanelle. And at this point, you're really seeing his crowning.
Yeah.
His eyes and face is still inside, but the top of his,
The brow yet.
she can see all of this.
Oh,
Yeah,
I see.
that's all out. That's all out. So the mother can fully support her baby coming. At this point, those are lovely moments for a woman to get in touch with her baby, and that whole connection starts this incredible process occurring. So it's good if she reaches down and starts to connect with her baby right then, all the oxytocin's coming.
Yeah.
So okay, now at this point, I know it looks funny, that's why it's really hard to demonstrate it. At this point, the head is out and he's going to straighten his neck because he came like that.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be like this. It's not comfortable, I promise. So they're going to come out, block, and turn. And then now they're a quarter. Now I'm going to turn all the way. Hold on, look at her. The shoulders. You know, start, and then they rotate like that. You know,
Amazing.
it is, it really is. It is, it's really cool to see this. Heads out. Now this is the external rotation, like what I was just showing you just then. So, okay, the head comes out. They call it restitution, which means instead of looking like this, so his shoulders are like that, he's looking down like this. He moves like that. That's restitution. Let me try it this way. So if I'm looking like this, he straightens out. Comes out looking down, comes up, comes out, turns sideways. Just to relax his neck. And then the next is the left and right, the anterior or posterior shoulder. Pressure from uterine contractions, forces, body flow, yes, descent is, yep. All stations ranges from minus. So like I say, once you get to 4, you're really, much of the head is out. Yeah. All right, so it begins after the head has crowned and is complete, and when the head passes under the symphysis, what is this extension? Extension, okay. Basically, you'll know it when you see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, realignment of the fetal head with body, basically. Yep. Yep. Major pelvic bones include, why is this passage 2? Divisions. Okay, arbitrary, okay, we've talked about this, the false pelvis and the true pelvis. The false pelvis being the outside, I mean, really, it's just, we're not worried about, we don't work with the outside, we work with this whole. That's the only thing we work with, and that's what we refer to as the true pelvis, not this bit. And it's really this internal circle, the internal circle. So in order to understand a double Dutch that I speak sometimes, it's good to understand these words. Although I honestly don't often use these words. I use stupid words. Mid pelvis and outlet. I should use the right words. This being the inlet, right? Coming into the pelvis. This is the outlet coming out in the true pelvis is this ring here. And you know about the coccyx being mobile to breakable. Okay, so we talked about pelvimetry. You all know what it's about. One day we can actually try it on each other and you know why we use it. Anybody not clear on why we use it? I didn't use it. Soft passage through maternal soft tissue. Yep, all the things that are soft. Oh, progesterone and relaxin, that's nice to know about. Both of them are part of your elasticity and stretchability and helps soften those muscles as well as bone tissue. Contractions, different waves, moves down, different, you know, that. Retraction phase. What's a retraction phase? Was that the cervix? Okay, I knew that. Yeah, see, I knew that.
We're professional.
I know. They're professionals. Ay. Oh, the purpose of the uterine contraction. Well, this is true. And it's good to explain this to your parents, or at least this is what I explain. This is what the contractions are all about. It's all about pulling back that cervix, stretching that cervix open. That's the whole point of the contractions during labor.
Now I understand why the cervix looks the way it would look after 5, 6 phases.
Yeah.
Stretch so much like a rubber band, just keep stretching and coming back and stretching. Eventually it will lose its elasticity or get weaker. I
Yeah.
think also that might also be the problem with maternal pregnancy over 36 years of age.
Yeah. Yeah.
Things get weaker and softer and it becomes more, even though you have
It ages.
it ages. So this explains a lot.
Yeah, exactly right. I find it useful to know these things when you're looking at a baby coming through and the more you do, the more it comes together and gels in your brain a little bit more. But in this particular discussion about the effacement and dilation, being able to explain it to your parents and the mothers and what they're going through. Yeah, I like knowing these things to share with them, and when they go through the contractions, you can remember this is what's happening. You're starting to die. You know, you really use the dramatic tone, and you help get them to visualize what's going on. And if you do, you can at least, this is what I'm thinking when those hellish things are slamming down on you. And you get that vision in your head of a head up there. For some stupid reason, there's a head in my vagina. And I know this is not what I was thinking of. I was not thinking of my cervix when I got pregnant. And the whole time my belly is getting bigger, I'm not giving one bit of thought to this poor old cervix. And it's probably, and that's deep. That, people, is why we suffer labor pains. If we paid more attention to our cervixes, they might be nicer to us.
Yeah. And it's funny because growing up, the mothers always, you could tell they have something very personal with the child. Like you could just see a mother just go up to a kid and be like coconut head, like wrapping the back of the head. You'd be like, Why? Now I understand. It's the cardinal movement. It's very personal. You, you've been hard coming out from the beginning. You know you're gonna have.
Exactly
You're never
right.
gonna hear the end of it. They'll tell you.
Oh, I never let Shella forget. You don't let Shella forget. She grabbed my cervix on the way out. Oh,
Yeah, you
now they know. Now they know what I mean.
know it's personal.
It's personal. Yeah, nobody gets to do that to my cervix.
Exactly. You got stuck and you put me so much liver pain.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right, so all this you know. Hydrostatic force, okay, I don't really use that word a lot, if at all. Okay, because it's apparently another power of labor. Anybody knows what that is, let me know. Includes the pressure of the fetus within the amniotic sac. Okay, I know what that is. They're referring to the static state of the pressure onto because the baby is in an amniotic sac.
Yeah.
It's like a water balloon, so the pressure gets dispersed.
Ah.
Membranes amniotic facilitate. So as contractions occur, the membranes and amniotic fluid facilitate dilation and effacement. That works for a while. When you get to 8-9 centimeters, you need a head. And sometimes these amniotic fluids get in the way. Yeah, we'll talk about that another time, but yeah.
That way you go and puncture it.
If I feel the need to, yes.
Okay.
Since the lower uterine segment and cervix are regions of the less resistance, the additional pressure, yeah, is grading force. Okay. And the good thing about the amniotic sac is it buffers the baby's direct pressure onto the cervix. Like I say, at the end, you do want direct pressure. And sometimes the waters just do break before labor. But normally that's why it's there, is to protect the baby's head against the force, the full burden of the pressure that he's going under. Abdominal force labor, intra-abdominal. All right. So we talk about second stage, and so second stage technically means when the cervix is completely dilated and there's nothing in the way from the baby exiting the uterus. Sometimes mothers have a very strong urge to push. Sometimes they have no urge to push.
Why we have not urge to push? Just because baby's stuck, or they're not ready.
Maybe it's because they're not ready. I don't make I look, I know there's a point where the baby gets to a point on the pelvic floor and it's pressure against those muscles. And at that point, your uterus changes. It's just not passively contracting anymore. Before, it's just contracting like this. And really, it's just doing this. All the time, it's doing this. And then suddenly, it's doing this. Yeah, which is quite different from this. So now when the uterus starts doing this, it's like, okay, we're good to go. Let's shove this, let's get this kid out of here.
Yeah.
And it's getting, you will see the uterus stand up. It lifts up, not straight up like this, but it definitely goes up like to a level. And you'll see, there's a round uterus that lifts itself up and squares off at the top. In time you'll see this, and you'll notice, oh, I see. First, even as soon as women lay down with a big belly, they contract. They often do. As soon as you put your hands on their belly, they start to contract. Uteruses respond to touch. So if you touch them, they will contract. That's why I'll touch and play for a bit and wait for the uterus to go, or I started a contraction and I'll wait for it to go away. So sometimes women have the urge, sometimes they don't. I'm more impatient these days. So in the old days, I'm happy to sit and wait till a woman has the urge. In other time, now I'm less happy, less patient. So I say, give it a try, have a push.
Yeah.
Try to push during a contraction. How did that feel? Did that feel good? Did it feel right? And you can hear, and I pay attention to how they're pushing. I can hear where they're pushing from, and then watching them. I can look at the feet. Feet are hilarious. You the women. I'm like this. And then you look at my feet.
Oh, I see. So you can tell much from the face, but
You can't, you just look at the entire body. But I remember my midwife was saying with Mandakini that she was just laughing because you look like the picture of serenity, and then I see your toes. You're not serene at all. I'm trying. I'm trying, all right. So, again, this is a case-to-case situation.
Mhm.
The woman doesn't feel like pushing, we'll just see. Sometimes it's because the uterus is going to take a break. Okay, we got here.
Uterus do that, they take breaks.
Oh, yes. They actually take breaks.
Really?
Yes, they are. And this is where a lot of times people get anxious and they really want to push the mother in uterus. No, uteruses will take a break. They're not going to just keep pushing your baby up against the wall. Even if you might be he's going in here and he's got his head stuck here. This isn't proportionate with baby. But often I'll get somebody caught here. Yeah. And I'll have to get in there and lift them up and get them to, slide in. But they're here in some stupid position. Oh, okay, like that. So yeah, it's not going to keep pushing a baby into a bone if it's not working, or if it's just not moving, they can even stop altogether. So every muscle in our body depends on glucose. Glucose feeds it. When you run out of glucose, you can do this 100 times, 200 times, but there's a 300 times, but there's a point where you can't lift that arm up anymore. Your muscles have lost all its glucose. And no matter how hard you try, you can't lift that thing. You have to wait for a minute, let the glucose end up in the muscle tissue so you can pump again. So it's the same thing with the uterus and the baby. It's not going to just, sometimes if it's a long labor, it wants to rest. Yes, well, go to the mother. It actually doesn't take long if you let it have its rest.
Okay.
So go to the room, as I send mothers to their room. I try to encourage them to go to sleep. Most of them never listen to me. I know, and they never listen to me, but I'm right. Mothers know best. I don't know why kids never listen to me, but whatever, they go down, they rest, and when the uterus is ready, it'll get back up and go back to work. But yeah, it'll take a break. It won't kill itself. It doesn't want to kill you, so it will take a break, and it doesn't want to kill your baby either.
Okay.
So they do communicate. So sometimes I will sit back and wait for it to wake up and everything to happen. Sometimes at this point, woman gets to fully dilated and everything stops. Dead cold, not unusual, can happen. And we pretend, okay, you're going to rest, just rest, go to sleep. We pretend. And kind of the mother's like, you're insane, just rest. And then they're out cold, right? Mothers go out cold at this point, and heavy cold, heavy out, yeah. And then suddenly, bang, they're awake with this, oh,
Amazing.
and then the contraction ends and they fall asleep again. Yeah, yeah. So you just go with this flow and work with it. So sometimes there's the incredible involuntary push, which almost always it takes the mother, you cannot, it guides the mother.
Yeah.
When you tell a mother to push, they don't always push properly.
Yeah.
Mostly they push from here. And it's hard to redirect them to here. Yeah, but you really have to talk about their bums and their anuses and their vaginas, you really need to go there. So anyway, yeah. For the last of the 20th century, okay. In the last half of the 20th century, the position used most frequently for labor in the US has been lying flat in a hospital bed. The most common position for birth has been flat. Okay, none of this applies to us. Mothers move. Okay, position can be anything. End of story.
Mhm.
Progress of psychology. Yes, the good old psychology. All of this here is very, very important here in Mayapur, India. Fear, tension, epinephrine and norepinephrine, alpha beta receptors. This is an important part of anatomy and physiology. The chemistry of how our bodies think and work. And we still don't understand this, right? We really don't get all of it. But it's very interesting how anxiety, tension, and fear will inhibit the natural rhythm of labor. And that's very important. Otherwise, with a mother, I find all you have to do is support a mother.
Mhm.
And mostly you're just there. Mostly you're just there. Mostly that's all I'm doing. You're just reassuring women. That's the biggest role we play. You understand that? This is what I've been talking about. See, this is what I mean by the uterus standing up. It's not going straight up. And also it squares off here. I find it a square. And it goes square this way too. Across and over. And you see that little bulge there. Can you imagine right there then is the internal os of your cervix? How mad is that? Otherwise it's here.
Oh,
Yeah. Now it's been dragged all the way here. Yeah, that's the pain of contractions. This is a chart, so I don't speak chart.
Mhm.
That I speak. Bloody anterior fontanelle. You find that thing. If that's it.
Oh, amazing.
Okay. This is what we're here for, yeah. This is what's cool. This is the miracle. I mean, of course, I pick up all kind of things and I'm fascinated by them. But I think this is
Inspiring.
this is genuinely inspirational, isn't it? Okay. So I'll send this to you unless you already have all this, don't you?
I think you said.
I think you already have it in full. So I'm gonna create another exam for you. We'll see where you go.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah. Oh, don't tell to Lindy. Don't tell to Lindy. I won't give her the,
Bring her Nerf gun.
yeah, she'll bring the Nerf gun. Well, I'm gonna hold my tray over here. Don't tell it to Lindy. I won't send you the link. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm gonna go pick up my son.
Yes, all the mothers are getting ready to run out the door. All right, thank you so much. It was nice talking to everybody. And we'll see you next time.
I'm gonna try making those
Yeah.
I used to blend them, it's so boring. My husband used to like to drink it. I'm tired of making it. So I'm gonna cut it and to dry it.
Exactly, that's what I did. Yeah, I just cut them and dry them, but I put black salt over them. Sorry?
It has like citrus taste.
It is citrus.
I didn't think so, like.
Well, there's the black salt in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes that, adds a lot to it.
To find something like that, more chunkier.
I can cut it chunky. Well, these were, actually, I think they ended up in quarters in the end, yeah.
Like, you just eat this fat.
Yeah, I just eat it as a snack. Hawaiian, we have snacks like this, that's what we don't have candy bars, we have this.
And that's fun.
Red ginger, salted plums.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
my pleasure, thank
Do we
you.
have something tomorrow?
Yes, I have a prenatal,
Okay.
and then we can do practical, so let's do something. Okay.
And I'll send you, I'm getting the pictures and I can pick up some photos.
Okay, jive, thank you. I don't know. Did you want to say something, Divya?
No, I was just trying to wave and say bye, and I'll come back when I have something. I have started doing assignments, so I'm a little. So there's a marriage in the house, right? So I'm all. It's my brother-in-law's marriage. There's a wedding, so I'm all like going here and there with preparations, etc. So I've come back. I've not been as responsive as I was before. So I know that, yeah, coming back to it.
That's okay, don't you worry. This is all part of life.
Yes. But I'm waiting for the exam.
Okay,
Sit
I'm
for
gonna
the-
write it.
Yes. I'm gonna sit for the
Okay.
exam. Yes. See you. Bye.
See
Bye.
you, bye. Bye, Manisha.